Do, 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 do. Make sure it all works and it all goes live first. I haven't heard a notification yet. Did it not notify again? Is this a new bug or feature that YouTube's added? Or it doesn't send out notifications anymore? No, it didn't. Alright. See in the comments if anybody's getting notified.
People are getting notifications.
Alright. As long as people are being notified.
Did not.
Yeah, I didn't hear a click from anything. So that's interesting. Unless you turn them off. Alright, so Dallas, what I've done, I've started up a new Dallas Stars franchise, but I didn't change much other than I may have made a couple of trades. So I want to watch them against Boston. I want to see how those trades work for my team, and my trading block might include Radulov and Pavelski. Might include those guys. Might. Just might. Alright. Which jersey am I going to put Dallas in? I'm going to put them in there. Oh! I can get a pretty game going. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah? Why do you say it like that? That's a beautiful
I'm just
game.
agreeing with you. Mm-hmm.
Boston and Dallas to start the season. I was really happy when they were to start the season, but since they only meet twice, it was kind of bittersweet that was the first matchup of the season.
Yeah.
So I've got the salary cap on this time because I'm taking over a franchise and everything stayed the same, so I've left the salary cap as is. Tuukka Raskinen, it should be Ben Bishop at the other end. Yep. Coach is going to be mad at me. He wanted Ville Heinola to play 9 games out of the first 15. I just demoted him. I don't want to be messing around with the lineup. Heinola can get proper ice time in the minors.
Will Panarin and Zibanejad combine for more than 200 points this next season?
They should. I mean, they were trending in that direction this year. They should. Mika Zibanejad definitely emerged as one of the best centers in the game this year. And it's going to be up to him to show that progression. It wasn't just a one-year thing.
Could we see NASCAR power rankings after every 2 to 3 races?
With 40 racers? I don't know. I mean, I could maybe do a top 10, but yeah, I don't know. I'm going to get a basketball thing going soon because basketball comes back at the end of July. So Yvonne's clearly enthused about it. And Major League Baseball might save the season after all. We'll see.
Could we... anyone else see the PS5 reveal?
I heard about it, but at the asking price that they have for it at the entry level, there's no way. I'm not spending $800, $900 on a PlayStation. I'm not doing it.
Can you do a series where you do each team's alumni team, please?
Possibly. The one thing that I've had an issue with is that the series that I've been doing have been really underperforming. So I'm trying to get away from series as much as possible. The playoff ones, for instance, where I'm talking about the great series, those have just died. Those have gone right off a cliff. So series, I'm a little bit hesitant. I mean, if I can find one that I know is gonna garner attention, maybe. But some of them, it's just it's way easier, and they seem to perform better with some of the other off-the-cuff kind of videos I do than the ones that I do all the setup for.
Do you like the Blue Jays? If so, have you heard the steal the Jays got with 5th pick in the draft last night?
I heard they did well in the draft, and apparently the second rounder they picked up is a a decent arm on the for their roster as well. The Jays need pitching. I mean, as long as they can get enough pitching, I like their depth when it comes to each of their positional spots. The pitching has just been abysmal. Last year it was just an absolute joke. So I expect that to hopefully get better. The experience I've had with the Jays is they either have pitching or hitting. They never have both. Dallas goes up 1-0 there. See, I put that together. Hints from Janmark and Pavelski. Good job.
What happens if the NHL picks a hub city and then the COVID cases go up dramatically?
I think that's why they're waiting to officially announce. Like, they didn't officially announce Vegas. But there's word now, Ryan Rishaug is reporting that the Canadian government's decision and probably an allowance for NHL players is going to be officially announced over the next couple of days. There's no reason the NHL has to make an announcement now. Apparently there's been some money exchanged with Vegas where they've put some money down on deposits. I would think that's just business. They may have that in other locations as well. Mm-hmm. And, Vegas is still the front runner, but I wouldn't count out Vancouver, Edmonton, or Toronto if the government caves a little bit to the pressure they're getting. 2-0 Dallas. Look at this. I've created a great team. Just 2 small trades, and this team is fantastic. Alexiak scores. He never scores. He got a goal.
When his career is over, will Patrick Kane be the best American player ever?
Probably yes. I would have Pat LaFontaine in that category as well, but yeah, probably so. I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. I'm probably the best American-born player.
Not the biggest fan of the Greatest Series videos, but I try to watch so you get a view and some money.
See, for me, the Greatest Series is fun because this is all the old playoff series that I watched, whether it was when I was a kid, young adult, all that, and just, seeing certain players' names on the board is great. I love seeing some of the names that I've been able to put on there, players that otherwise I'm never going to be able to really talk about. And it is fun to see how certain players moved around the league and did well in the playoffs, though they didn't necessarily in the regular season. Willie Plett comes to mind, but again, they're underperforming. So while I've still got a series set for 91, it's actually the Battle of Alberta. I don't anticipate more than about 2,000 hits for it.
Is Henrik Lundqvist a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Depends when he's eligible, but I think so. If he's eligible at a time when there's too many Hall of Fame level candidates, he may have to wait a year. But he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
When you play hockey on this channel, it makes it so that all of the questions are hockey. So it's just like the other. It's like the other days that you play hockey, just a little bit less people.
Yeah, but I'm wearing my Rick and Morty shirt.
I know, but
and they won the vote. Believe me, I would love.
There's a ton of hockey people on
I know,
the
but I would. It was either that or GTA. GTA was second in the voting. And for me, I mean, I just started. I finally installed and started playing Gran Turismo Sport. Man, what a great game! It's nice when I'm losing a race and I don't get mad. That's a real measure of a good game, is when you're losing a race and you don't get mad. You see where your mistake is and you fix it. And in some games, I just get mad because you're racing perfect and yet somehow the prick behind you just keeps catching up. There's some of that. There's some of that catch-up vibe with Gran Turismo, but it's always been a fair series, and I'm really excited that I finally started playing it. I bought that how long ago? It was in the old house when I bought Gran Turismo.
I have no idea.
That's the one that's in the metal case there, the silver and black. I've had that since the old house. That got beat up in the move.
Okay.
So that's how long I've had that. Finally playing it.
Last minute of play in the first period.
What's up?
On NHL 20, Timothy Liljegren has elite potential. Would you say he has elite potential?
I am bewildered by some of the ratings some players have on here. I would have him as a top 4. At some point, I want to go through and edit the rosters and edit down and edit up players. Maybe I'll do that sometime on the main channel. where I go through and I edit the ratings and I edit the actual potentials, because some of them are just baffling. Even here with Dallas, there's a couple that I'm like, really? You've got that guy that high and that guy that low? So, yeah, I mean, the one, I was going through Winnipeg, and Ville Heinola, they have as his potential is okay. I got him in a trade, but Logan Stanley has like elite potential. I'm like, wait, Logan Stanley's a higher rated prospect in this game than Ville Heinola? Who programmed this? Logan Stanley? Like, it's just, I'm absolutely in shock by that.
Thoughts on Connor Murphy? I think he's underrated.
Connor Murphy takes too much criticism because of how much money he makes. He's seen as overpaid. He's a good defenseman. He's had a pretty good season. And yeah, I mean, I think he's solid, and he's found a good home where he is now in Chicago.
Is this franchise mode?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Named my cats Bishop and Anton because I'm different.
Bishop's a great name for a cat. Bishop works.
Slavin at 85 is disrespectful.
Yeah, some of the ratings in here are off, and I know the Canucks were tweeting out they have what, Demko's an 80, something like that. I'm like, really, an 80? Like, that's just, for some reason the ratings are really, really wonky with this game. They're Dallas 3-0.
Did NASA SpaceX launch?
We did. We did, and we held our breath, but we did. We watched it.
We did, yeah. Both Shannon and I, the kids didn't get it. The kids had no clue, and they thought it was funny that both of us were kind of doing the really nervous. They didn't understand at all.
They're not old enough to remember Challenger, obviously. Challenger, none of us thought anything was going to be a big deal. We were all just, it's fine. Because that's the one thing with NASA launches, and of course now SpaceX, I don't take any launch for granted, just like I don't take re-entry for granted either after Columbia. It's so easy for something to go wrong. It could be something so minor. Those O-rings in the Challenger, nobody thought anything of it. They had that problem before. I remember looking back on some of the old launches before Challenger, they showed like there's a leak here, there's a leak here. They were just lucky they didn't blow up before. Right. So, yeah, I hold my breath when those launches are done now. Boston gets on the board 3-1.
Always was a fan of Broadcast View. Never learned to play on it, though, unfortunately.
Oh, it's crap for playing on. Kasha with his first goal of the season. It's terrible to play with this view. It's just, it doesn't feel natural. For me, the best view on the old versions of the games was always overhead. And I'm pretty good as well at the when you're just looking up and down the ice sort of views, just not broadcast.
Do you think that NHL is concerned about Eugene Melnyk?
No. They have no reason to be yet. Until he's taking money out of his team and putting it into something else that's maybe under scrutiny. No. I don't think they have any desire to get rid of Eugene yet. That doesn't mean they like him, just means they don't have any reason to get rid of him.
7 teams into college women's hockey and NHL 20.
Nice.
Same Shannon, space stuff is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're strapping them to a missile, and missiles can blow up.
What are you doing on the entertainment guy?
I took over the entertainment guy today. I've had enough of him freeloading. I actually said that in the video this morning. I said I'll be popping over onto the Entertainment Guy channel to do an NHL live stream because I've had enough of him freeloading off me. I'll show him how a live stream's really done. I'm even wearing one of his shirts. So, and a baseball hat too, just because why not?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. What's wrong with A's? Nothing wrong with A's. You like A's?
Yeah, it's a good letter. That letter's very useful.
You like Moneyball, so you like the A's. That's how that works. You like the movie, you like the team.
Shouldn't we have have expected a COVID spike in places that have reopened.
There is one.
Not necessarily.
Depending on where it is, there has been. If people are wearing masks, if they're doing social distancing, they're okay. Part of the reason they shut down was to try to figure out the safest way to reopen. So it wasn't just we're going to shut down forever until there's a vaccine. It was figure out the safest way to do this.
Well, and give the medical community time to figure stuff out.
Yeah, and so the medical communities figured out a way to lower the mortality rate, which is good. So less people are dying than they were in the beginning because they're figuring out better treatments. And in general, if you open up in a safe manner, you could be okay. You may not have another spike.
We've been opening up, for a month since June 1st, and we have not had a spike here.
Well, it's only 10 days so far.
But still, that's enough that, 11 days.
Close.
11 days, you would have seen a spike by now.
Because people are taking it seriously.
And we haven't had a spike yet.
So again, as long as people are taking it seriously, we're fine.
Just because you open up doesn't mean you have a spike. It's all in how you go about doing it.
But in some areas we're seeing spikes because it's just not being taken quite as seriously. And if you're outdoors, and during the summer more people are outdoors, you're at lower risk. During flu season, that's part of the reason the flu ends up going away. It's not that it goes away, it's that it's harder to transmit it when you're outside. And this has been known for decades, this isn't new, is that during the fall and winter months, you're confined and there's more of a chance of spread of colds and flus. So this is just another add-on to that.
In December, do you watch the Spengler Cup? I think that HC Davos Arena is gorgeous.
Oh, the arena's fantastic. The problem is usually when the Spengler Cup's on, it's middle of the afternoon. And it's during hockey season when I'm already watching 6 to 9 hours of hockey a night. So I've watched a couple of Spengler Cup finals over the last 3 years. But following the entire tournament, I just haven't had the time or energy to devote to it. Oh, that barely crossed the line. Watch this. Barely crosses the line behind Rask. That's a fourth goal there.
Oh, yeah.
Just trickled in.
If the NHL didn't go after Pocklington for selling Gretzky and using the money for his personal business, Melnick has nothing to worry about.
Like I said, the only way that it would work would be if he took, let's say he took money from the Senators and put it into a charity which went into his own pocket. That's where the NHL would go after him. Would be if there was some kind of a charity that wasn't really a charity and it was just to give him money. That's where the NHL could say, okay, you can't be doing that. Where he'd be taking profits away from himself to give to himself.
I live in Florida. The reopening plan has sucked. We are skyrocketing in cases. Nobody believes in masks down here.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. Everybody was terrified of the beaches. Again, that's an outdoor thing, but there was where was it? There was a hair salon where all 6 of the stylists have COVID, but they served 142 people, made all of them wear masks when they went to the hair salon and practiced social distancing. Not a single person who went to that place has tested positive for COVID yet.
That's great.
So it works. This is why it's baffling when people don't want to wear them, because they work.
Have you watched MASH?
I loved MASH. The early seasons I liked more than the later seasons. It got really, really preachy and serious in the later seasons and kind of depressing, which is understandable because the show outlasted the actual war, but it does. It just gets really... I much prefer the early seasons where you got Radar and Hawkeye and Burns and Trapper. And yeah, I'm even old enough to remember Trapper John MD, which was the offshoot, where it was Trapper when he was older and working in North America as a doctor. You remember Trapper John MD?
No.
It's a medical drama that was based on Trapper from MASH.
Medical shows.
No, there was just that and St. Elsewhere. That's it. That's all there was in the 80s. That's it. I'm 90% sure of that.
Have you watched The Office again?
I've got her almost all the way through season 9. There's nothing wrong with season 9.
Uh-huh.
What's wrong with season 9?
I don't like the end seasons of The Office. I don't.
I thought you liked the last episode with Angela and Dwight.
I mean, they're not horrible, but I don't enjoy the last seasons. That's why I didn't watch them. That's why I stopped watching them. I just don't find them entertaining.
See, I didn't like season 8, but I do like season 9. I thought season 9 was better. Dallas still up 3-1.
Shame we never got a Vietnam War comedy show.
Oh, God. I don't know that you can make a comedy of that. Korea's tough enough. I don't know that you could get away with a comedy show now based on a war. I really don't know that you can. And definitely Vietnam. There's a giant no with that. Yeah, I don't know if you could do a comedy now based on a war. That would be really, really tough. That'd be a tough sell.
Cheers.
So 4-1.
Cheers is the top 10 show of all time. Agree or disagree?
Oh, agreed. Cheers is funny the whole way through. The only episode of Cheers that wasn't really funny was the finale. The finale was like kind of just there. So they score on the power play. Dallas up 4-1, and of course I'm fine with it because Dallas and Boston. I'm happy whoever wins.
When do we get a COVID comedy?
Oh,
I don't know about that one.
Years after it's done.
It has to be quite a while. With how many people have died,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be something. It'll be seen as so insensitive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we ever saw any kind of send-up of 9/11. So, Rick and Morty admitted, too, they couldn't do a 9/11 joke. There was a recent episode where it looks like they're going to crash into 2 buildings.
Oh, gosh. No.
And then they go around, they go, oh, and Rick goes, oh, boy, that was close. Oh, it's still too soon for that one. We're not going to cross that line.
No, that would make people really upset.
Yeah. Which I thought was funny. It's one of those meta moments in a Rick and Morty episode.
Speaking of bad endings, How I Met Your Mother felt really spiteful at the end. It's one of those shows, again, just went too long. So many shows go way too long.
But the whole show is called How I Met Your Mother, and then it turns out that the mother doesn't matter. The mother's completely inconsequential to the entire show. And it just doesn't matter. It's like Lost. Where it's like, what's going on? And then by the end, you're like,
way too long.
Why are we still watching this? So I watched the last episode and laughed at it. Because I hadn't watched Lost since season 1.
Oh, see, and I watched the first... I'm trying to think how many
about halfway
seasons
through
I watched.
season 1, I was like, this is just going to get stupid.
I liked season 1. Season 2 wasn't horrible. I think I made it to like 4. And then at that point, it's just, this is getting ridiculous.
Shows like that need to do what Orphan Black did. You have a certain number of seasons, and you stick to it. And that's it. And even if a network goes, we want to do another season, you say no. And you have a plan
with the story.
From the beginning, you know how it's going to end. And that's it. And just stick to it, and finish it. It's so much smarter than just, well, okay, we're going to keep going. And then with Lost, the viewers figured out how it was going to end. So the writers changed it. The writers changed it, and they came up with brand new ideas that just made it so convoluted and ridiculous.
Have you ever seen The British Office?
Yes. Yes. I do prefer the American one, but the British one has its moments as well, because it's Ricky Gervais, and he's fantastic.
When you and TG going to play face-off in NHL 20?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. We just don't get along. It's not a good match.
What is your second favorite sport?
Well, it's the same one as Yvonne, National Football League.
It's not a thing.
NFL. 100% NFL. She loves NFL. She loves the Cardinals. She's really into the Cardinals. She's like, go Birds. She's just so Cardinals. I'm like, they're the Cards. It's like, I don't care.
Did you hear HBO Max removed Gone with the Wind due to racial concerns? Like, that's the only concern with that movie. Anyways.
I have been offended.
Physical copies shot up to the top 10 in purchases on Amazon. Okay,
I've been offended by... Yeah.
Last night, then just go buy the damn movie.
My remark was it only came out 81 years ago. Like,
if you love the movie so much, do you not own a copy yet?
My ex loved Gone with the Wind.
Disturbing,
my ex loved Gone with the Wind. I had never watched it. She finally makes me sit down and watch it. She ended up kicking me out of the room because I was pointing out every single sexist and racist and offensive thing I was finding in it.
horrible.
And I was like, this is terrible.
It is.
Did he just slap her? What? Now, okay, she said no and he's carrying her upstairs. What's going on in this movie? And then it's a classic movie. It's fun. No, this isn't.
Disturbing.
And then Mammy, and I'm like, oh, what is this? Oh, you can't. And then when the soldiers are going off to war, I'm like, wait, all of the black soldiers are going off to war to stay slaves? This is sad.
Because they're slaves.
And she's like, there's not what that means. I'm like, that's exactly what that means. How does nobody see this? And now apparently the rest of the world kind of caught up with what I was saying 20 years ago.
Horrible, horrible movie.
20 years ago I was making these statements. So I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. I was saying it 20 years ago. Go look at my favorite
discussion before.
Go look at my favorite movies. Gone with the Wind is nowhere near it.
We have definitely had this conversation before because I like.
Before I met her, I asked if she liked Gone with the Wind, and she said no, and I said thank God. It was one of the reasons I dated her.
I like a lot of old movies, but I find Gone with the Wind disturbing. Rhett is a terrible
Rhett's
human being.
an ass, and he's about 30 years older than Scarlett.
Ugh.
Scarlett doesn't even love Rhett. She's in love with Ashley. Ashley's a dick to her the whole time. He's secretly in love with her. He's married to somebody else.
It's a terrible movie.
It's just everybody in that movie is awful, and just oh man, I don't understand. Like I don't necessarily agree with taking it off the air, but at the same time, it's not exactly this sweet feel-good movie.
All the time. They don't have every single movie.
And it's
available
not a sweet feel-good movie. I would put Clockwork Orange ahead of it as a feel-good movie.
I just don't understand that.
Dear Lord,
they do take
at least Clockwork Orange doesn't glorify it.
All the time. All the time.
Clockwork Orange doesn't glorify it. Don't start.
Favorite movie about dancing? Oh, so many choices.
About dancing.
What about Singing in the Rain? There's a lot of.
Speaking of Clockwork Orange.
No. Don't ruin it for me.
Okay, well, you can never watch Clockwork Orange then, because you'll never hear that song the same again.
I don't plan on it.
You'll never hear that song the same again. You just can't. Favorite song about dancing? I guess Empire Strikes Back. Remember the big dance number?
It's not a thing.
When he tells Luke that he's his father? Remember there's the big dance number with Vader and the troopers? Or was that me having a stroke?
Yeah, I think that was a stroke.
I don't know that I have a favorite dance movie. Fame? Does Fame qualify? Way back in the day? Okay. What about Electric Boogaloo? Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. Does that count? Okay, I liked Breakin' 2 when I was a kid.
Okay.
Breakin' 2 was fun.
Do you think that Family Guy sometimes crosses the line far too much when they do their jokes, although their jokes are funny? It's not funny.
Yeah, and they...
So not funny.
I've had this statement for a long time. I think Seth MacFarlane is trying to see just how far he can push it before he gets thrown off the air. I think he's trying to see how far he can push it before the censors take the jokes out. And there's been times where jokes got in there that my jaw just drops like, did he just say that? And it's not that it's funny. It's not that it's entertaining. It's just, it's offensive, and it stays.
I don't like that.
And that's, it's stunning. And it's weird because I love South Park, which also has some offensive jokes she doesn't like. But it's always part of the plot, and it's always kind of like you're kind of mad at yourself for laughing at it. It's like the Aristocrats joke. You really shouldn't laugh at you, but that's another one that she doesn't hear. But, yeah, Family Guy sometimes is just flat-out offensive. And the longer the show goes, the more it feels like MacFarlane wants the show canceled, and they just won't cancel it.
I disagree with people who want to completely remove movies from history. Well, I don't know that people want them removed.
Nobody's removing it from history.
Just not on their platform, which I can understand places not want them on their platform, but they're not being removed. There's still DVDs of it.
If it's on your platform, then you can be seen as promoting it. So it's a matter of saying, well, I'm not going to promote that. But if you want to watch Gone with the Wind, it's not hard to find. It's only 12 and 3/4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Half of it involves horses and slapping women. And the other half...
goes way beyond slapping women.
The other half involves war and the South were the good guys, which is really weird because I didn't know that the South were the good guys until I watched that movie. I was like, I guess the South were the good guys. Oh, anyways. Yeah. But I don't think anybody's trying to wipe anything out of existence. It's just not a thing. I want us to win a regular season home opener, right? Won another $30,000. There we go. All right, we're going to just go into the calendar. I'm not going to watch every game. That's not going to happen.
Seth MacFarlane wishes Family Guy was ended, but Fox won't kill it because it makes them money off of edgy teenagers.
That's been my theory for ages. That he is perfectly fine with the show being gone. Oh, Radulov's hurt. What a surprise. Okay, we won there.
Have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I've watched episodes. I haven't watched the whole thing. It is funny though because it's Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito makes everything funny.
Maybe an age difference, but I prefer some of the newer seasons of Family Guy compared to the older ones.
See, and for me,
terrible.
I wouldn't say they're all terrible.
The jokes don't even go with the story. They're totally just here's a flashback.
No, it's not. It's not a linear. It's not a linear show.
Storyline.
Why would I want
We're just gonna make
Pominville?
fun of somebody.
Why would I want Pominville?
It's dumb.
Where am I going to put Jason Pominville? Dear Lord.
It's longer than a baseball game. Gone with the Wind. True.
Yep.
Taxi was hilarious.
Taxi was great and one of the most talented casts in history.
What about that 70s show? That one was funny.
Cal Peterson's on waivers? What?
That 70s show, it also went too many seasons.
Why was Cal Peterson on waivers? I claimed him because, of course, you take him. Why was Cal Peterson on waivers? That should never happen. This is why I don't like playing with salary cap on, because there's always some guy on waivers that you go, what?
What is a hub city?
So the NHL is going to have 2 hub cities. There'll be 12 teams in each hub, and they'll be basically bubble. They'll have a bubble around them, and they will just travel within their bubble. Nobody gets in and nobody gets out. The idea being that it'll prevent infection. That is the hope, is that it'll prevent any chance of infection. Okay, what am I going to do?
Cutaway gags work in small doses, but there are way too many.
There are more and more as the show. He's a fringe starter as potential. Are you a moron? Who decided that? Why is Ottinger fringe starter? Who decided these numbers? Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you serious? That means they're useless. It's no wonder Peterson was on waivers. He's hot garbage on this game. Who programmed this? Okay, somebody go get the programmers. I'll wait. This is ridiculous. That is insane. You've got to be kidding me. Not that I have an opinion.
Right. Have you
so
seen
nobody's going to want Ottinger because he's a French starter at best.
Have you seen the South Park where the U.S. and Canada go to war? I
love the wall. I love that Canada builds a wall. The States goes to build a wall, and the Canadians have already built a wall, and there's one guy sitting on top of it. And he's just sitting there with his feet dangling. Didn't I show you that episode?
Yes.
The Canadians sitting on top of the wall, feet dangling. We want to get behind your wall. No, a lot of cool crap back here, and you can't see it. Yeah, that one's really, really funny. I cannot believe that goaltender is worthless. How? How does that happen?
Okay, let's see. EA Sports needs competition.
Uh-huh.
I remember NHL 17 having Aho's potential as an AHL top 6 forward.
Oh, that's ridiculous, because everybody knew he was going to be darn good. And Logan Stanley has elite potential, but Peterson has as the potential of fringe starter. And not only that, DiPietro in Vancouver, fringe starter, because of course he's not going to be an NHL level goaltender. He's useless. Holy crap! Is every prospect goaltender a fringe starter? That's Ottinger, Peterson, DiPietro, all of them fringe starters. What's the point of having them? Dear Lord, how do you do this? How do you botch that? See, this is the stuff I don't get into in most of the files that I do. This is why I don't deep dive on these games.
I don't think it's Justin Trudeau that says that we need to build the wall. I think it's most Canadians. That was a big joke that started But 4.5 years ago, I kept hearing from Canadians, build a wall.
Yep.
Build a wall.
Yep.
We'll
That's why we
build
found it so funny when South Park had Canada building the wall.
Yeah, because everybody
We're
else.
like, yeah, that sounds
That was something
right.
we was saying that anyways, so.
He's upset that I broke my promise. Tell him to cry me a river.
Scrubs is one of my favorite shows of all time, so it's not like I don't enjoy cutaway gags. I just don't like them when they're overused.
I don't have a...
Not relevant.
Wait, I don't have an option to pick a different thing to say. Why don't I have the option of saying something different? I don't have it says select response. There's only one response. There's only one response. There's only one response. How is there only one response? Can I get out of here? No, what's the point of having... It's like a choose your own adventure, but you just have the choice of going to the next page. Choose what happens next on page 12, and it's just a continuation. You're like, but I didn't pick anything.
Deep breaths.
Why don't I have a choice of saying, look, he wasn't ready? Why don't I have a choice of saying, I thought he'd be better off getting his ice time in the AHL? But all I have is, what's done is done, time to move on. That's a dick thing to say. I wouldn't say that. I would not say that to a coach. Ever.
Oh, Shannon.
I would tell him, I'd say, hey, Nolan needed time on the top two in the American Hockey League. That's what's best for him. That's not an option. And his morale's going to drop 10 points when I say this. Ah, you've got to be kidding me. That's a joke. Great. Now my coach is mad at me. That's going to be awesome. That's going to help.
Okay, baseball obviously didn't learn from their last lockout. They're headed for another one. Yvonne needs a raise, better working conditions. Hi, Shannon.
Hi. You know what? Baseball has been so long now since their last lockout that most of the guys who are playing now wouldn't remember the last one, and I think that's the problem. I think that's the biggest problem. Dear Lord.
Did you see, I'm going to guess Family Guy, where Brian stops 9/11 and it messes everything up? Then they had to go back and make it happen. I was kind of upset with the idea.
Because again, he's trying to offend people, and I think he's trying to get fired at this point. And for whatever reason, the show continues completely unabated. So okay, now I didn't touch any of the rosters. This is what, in its brilliance, EA Sports has for the standings. Let's take a look at their brilliant standings here. So this is the Central Division. Dallas is first. Nashville, Minnesota's third. At the bottom is Chicago. That's relatively realistic. Pacific Division, Coyotes have 22 wins and 5 losses. I'm thinking that might be a little bit high. I'm thinking the Coyotes having 22 wins and 5 losses might be a little bit high. Because they also are scoring 3.52 goals per game. Might be a little bit high. The Atlantic, Toronto's great. And Toronto fans will say, I see no problem here. Florida and Montreal are in the playoffs. There's Detroit, Buffalo, and Ottawa. So Buffalo's, even in a bad setup like this, Buffalo still sucks. New Jersey, there's Carolina. They're outside the playoffs. Islanders, Rangers, the Capitals have 9 wins in 27 games. So that's pretty realistic. This is why when people use the sim engine in EA to have any kind of conversation about who might win the Stanley Cup, I laugh at them. Because their sim engine is just, because I could go back and do a whole new franchise and the standings would be completely different the next time through.
Shannon needs meditation and yoga classes.
This is ridiculous. This is just I don't get it.
Does Arizona have Crosby?
I don't know. Maybe he went on waivers. Maybe he went on waivers before the season started. There was a file I did once with the salary cap where one of the major stars in the NHL was on waivers, and that was when I said this is absolutely ridiculous. Trade alert. Oh, I don't care.
They're gonna come at 4:30. I'm gonna make sure the kids.
Oh, okay. Do you want to shut down the live stream at 4:30 then?
That would be helpful.
Okay. So she has company coming for dinner at 4:30. Oh, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I don't like South Park. I used to. The only episodes of South Park I like now are the ones where it's just Brian and Stewie. Outside of that, they're kind of useless. Why does it keep wanting me to trade Harley? I'm not trading Harley. He's one of the few prospects that's rated properly in this game. And again, it's offering me the exact same deal. It's offering me almost exactly. Oh, God's sake.
In one simulation I did, the Sabres won the cup.
Nice. I remember back in the day, way back, Columbus always won the cup. That whatever EA game I was playing, they would win the Stanley Cup. I'm like, why does Columbus always win the Stanley Cup? This is ridiculous.
How are the cats doing?
Bear's fine. Shadow's just fine. He's sleeping from a day of trying to get outside. Okay, so Cody Eakin's hurt.
Do you think there will be goal horns in the games? If so, in arena, in
25, 11, and 4. I'm not touching a thing.
Okay. I think the gist of it is, will they be doing each of the teams, or will just the one that's supposed to be the home team for that game?
No, they'll do the goal horn for whichever team scores. I would think they'll have that like just as an audio file. They'll have whatever team's goal horn and goal song ready and available. I'd be very surprised if they don't.
What's for dinner? We have chicken and we made fruit salad and pretzels. Super excited.
Gabriel was throwing pieces of the pretzel bit on the floor. I was
always, because they're complete slobs.
He's just throwing it on the floor.
Yeah.
So if you see pretzel bits on the floor, he was throwing them on the floor.
Yeah, kids are awesome.
He will deny it, but he was throwing them on the floor.
Do you get more money from ads, or should I get YouTube Red?
Apparently, YouTube Red or Premium Prime, apparently it pays out at a higher rate than the ads. I don't get anywhere near the same amount from the YouTube Premium as I do from the ads, but I think that's because there aren't as many people using YouTube Premium, obviously. Jordy Ben's on waivers? No, I don't want Jordy Ben.
Have you played Be a Pro?
Not on this one. I did it on an old one. I used to find Be a Pro once you figure out goals. It gets kind of ridiculous. What drove me nuts with Be a Pro was I would get like 4 goals in a game, and then I'd get a negative grade from a coach because I wasn't where they told me to be. I got 4 goals. What do you want from me? Who in the world says, yeah, I got 4 goals, but did you see where he scored those from? That wasn't where we told him to be on the ice. Who cares where you told him to be on the ice? He got 4 goals.
Could you see the teams that aren't playing watching from the stands?
No, because then I think that complicates the bubble situation. And do you really want to be seen cheering for or against a team that you might play against?
Right.
Do you cheer for a team that you'd rather play against? Do you just applaud quietly like golf claps? How do you do that? Why do they want... Now they want Heinola. No, you're not getting Heinola either. Dear God. Oh, upgrade and maintain. Oh, no.
Will Tony DeAngelo get traded from the Rangers during the offseason for a left-handed defenseman?
You know, DeAngelo I thought was fine. I didn't think there was any problem at all for DeAngelo. I'm starting to wonder if maybe his personality is going to cause him some problems. We might see him move around a little bit. That's possible. And it's too bad because I think DeAngelo is a great player, but I don't have enough funds to fix that.
NBA is doing the best job right now.
I won't disagree with that. I think the NBA is doing well. However, in the NHL's case, there's only so much that they have control over since there's ice involved, which you don't have with basketball. It's easier with basketball to find a court, and guys can stay in shape a little bit easier with basketball than with hockey because you have the skating that's part of that too.
Why not have the lottery after the play-in round?
They want to have something for people to talk about in the month of June. So the lottery works. That's why I've started doing the draft videos now.
Is the NHL going to limit the support staff for each team? It sounds like there will be an awful lot of people in one place.
Yeah,
Sounds like they're limiting it.
There's going to be a limit. It may very well be something like,
They
two teams will have one staff.
Stands too.
Two teams in a play-in round might have one staff. In order to make sure that everything's above board and done properly. Right, I think that's the trade deadline. I'm pretty sure that's the trade deadline.
You need to make a series where you accept every trade.
Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that because then it just robs you. This game for years it robs you. It just flat out goes, yeah. So we're gonna dick you over, and that's the end of that then. Yeah, I can't do it.
I stopped playing this year's GM mode when the lineup that got the Canes a 38, 25, and 5 record in real life was last in the league in the mode.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Look at the one that I started where I had all the legends, and they were 1, 6, and 3.
Right.
And I have people going, well, you got to change their workouts. Why? They're legendary players. They're 98s and 99s on the overalls. They're fantastic. You think it's because they're not doing leg squats in between games that's why, or because they're not playing a trap? Or look, come on, it's just ridiculous.
Do you think you'd go down to games in Seattle a lot once they are here? And do you think tickets there would be more or less expensive than Vancouver?
Tickets are going to be...
Not a lot. That's going to be hard to go to games.
Tickets are going to be around the same price, I would think, between the two. Seattle's been pretty open that they're going to try to keep ticket prices relatively reasonable. We'll probably go down.
The night down there, though.
But yeah, we would have to stay over, and it's going to limit how much we're going to be able to do.
And hotels in Seattle are not cheap.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of tough for us.
Seattle hotels are like Canadian hotel prices.
Yeah. Oh, Seattle hotels are expensive.
They're
expensive.
And then you get there and you're like, wait, for that price?
And you look at the view and you're like, okay, I could have had a cheaper room in Vegas and been able to look at the Strip for less money. And now I'm here and I've got a quarry over
half
here.
The price and it's way nicer in Vegas.
That building's getting stabbed.
And I miss
this building's
Vegas.
on fire. Yes, and then you miss Vegas. It's not like
not
you can
that
see
we've
water.
ever stayed at a hotel in Seattle or anything. We don't.
And been disappointed because we were paying more money for that than we did for the Vegas hotel, where you had a beautiful view of the Strip and you could see planes coming in every day.
It was a really nice hotel, yeah.
And it was gorgeous. And it was just, and then there was a hot tub in the room.
That was awesome.
And yeah, and then you go to a Seattle hotel and you get a tiny room, and yeah, but they have to open the border first.
Yeah, we have to be able to
it's going to be a while.
Places.
Yeah, the border's going to be closed for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see if it gives me any kind of offers.
Will Seattle get an NBA team?
That's what they're hoping for. I don't know if they're going to get one or not, but that's the plan. I know that with the building, the renovations they're doing for the NHL, they're doing it also with the NBA in mind.
Have you thought about an Airbnb? We did that one when we went to the Dead's. That was in Seattle too.
Oh God, that was a nightmare.
That was something too.
That was a nightmare. Just finding out how to get in and what to do, and that was a nightmare. It
was so just
then we were late because everything was just a mess. Seattle just sucks for traffic and the way that they design their city. It just feels like Sim City, and you just slap everything on there and go, it's good enough. They can figure it out for themselves. Look at that. Good record.
If you could play hockey as an NHL player, what decade would you play in?
I'd be a defenseman in the 80s because I like a challenge. I like a challenge. And also because you could still be short and play hockey. It's kind of been a not thing.
Vegas now has both NHL and NFL. Will they get MLB and NBA?
I would think NBA is going to happen. I'd be very surprised. There's a huge basketball market in Vegas, and basketball players love the city and have for decades. I'd be very surprised if we don't see the NBA in Vegas. Major League Baseball, I don't know, because it gets really hot during the summer. And I don't know about playing games outside. I know there's a team in Arizona. I know, but boy, it gets so bloody hot, like 40 degrees Celsius. I just don't know that works.
When will you play City Skylines again?
Probably on Sunday. Because we have the two live streams here on Thursday and Sunday. Probably on Sunday.
How does the Melnick issue get resolved?
Either he straightens up or we stay this way until he decides to sell the team.
I've only had positive experiences with Airbnb. Went to a few in Seattle too, and they were great. Traffic is the worst though. Seattle traffic is crap. It makes Vancouver traffic look fantastic.
Yeah. That's bad.
Will you be taking your wife to your celebrity meeting, or is it boys only?
She'd go with me. I think that's okay. She's pleasing, so she'll go with me.
Ew, Shannon. Such a boy. Oh my goodness. Okay. Melnick or Jacobs? Who's worse?
Jacobs is cheaper. Melnick's more crooked. Look at that. Knocked out Calgary.
New Jets or old Jets?
Meaning?
I don't know. That's the whole question.
The New Jets are the better franchise. The old Jets had the better jerseys.
I was going to say, have the fun jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
Though the New Jets jerseys are pretty fun too. Except for the third is kind of lame, but you know.
That's not true.
It is, because it could have been so much cooler.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Nope. You're wrong.
Uh-huh.
Nope, you're wrong. Look at that. Up 3-0 in Colorado. I put together a great team. We swept Colorado.
Whoa.
We swept the Colorado Avalanche. Let's go take a look at that playoff tree and see what's going on.
Why Stars?
Because I love the Stars. I've always loved the Stars.
I don't understand some of these questions. When you just say two teams, I don't know what you're actually asking.
Okay, so let's go to the playoff tree.
I don't know what these questions are.
So Arizona's playing Vegas in the second round. Buffalo swept Boston.
Toronto lost to Boston in 7 again.
Buffalo swept Boston after beating Tampa.
That's funny.
Uh-huh.
It is. That's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny stuff.
It is. So there you go. Buffalo is a Final Four team according to EA. And
They should have named them the Lone Stars. I'm the only human who would have liked that name.
That was the fear. That was the fear, was that they were going to call them the Lone Stars. I remember that. That was a genuine fear.
Maybe I'm the only one, but I truly believe Atlanta could have worked if they had better ownership and better results.
They needed their building. And yes, the ownership, 100%, but yeah. Can I watch? I can't watch any of those games, can I? See,
Bishop
that's something they should allow. Bishop's better. See, that's the sad part. I can't
That's
actually...
not how you spell the word spell. Kinda killing it.
Alright, well, we'll simulate another day. And that didn't decide it, I guess. Nope. Another day. And we get Arizona. Arizona knocked out Vegas.
This is a funny simulation.
It's Dallas and Arizona. And on the other one, It's Carolina and Buffalo.
Are you a Dallas Mavericks fan?
I like the Mavericks. Damn good ownership for the Mavericks, too. So, yeah, I like the Mavericks. Big fan of Mark Cuban.
Seattle is missing a great opportunity for attention by not yet naming their team.
I agree. I think it would be great if they named him.
Why do Americans and Canadians spell some words differently?
French.
British.
French.
It depends on the word. But,
Sacre bleu.
Canadians use the British spelling. Americans use American spelling. So it's
no, Canadians use British spelling and Americans use the proper spelling.
That's not how that works.
That's how that works.
It's because back
they use
when
proper English.
The United States became the United States, there was not like dictionaries where there were the rules of language where this is how words are spelled. And so by the time that was established, there were different countries and they didn't all agree on how it was spelled. So Canada has the British spelling and how words were decided to be spelled in England, which for us is mostly the using of the letter U. And in the United States, they took out the U in a lot of those words. And that's
because there's no I in
they
team.
They spell words differently.
They smell them different too.
There wasn't an organized way of spelling before that point.
Right. That was before letters. Letters were invented shortly before the War of 1812. They were invented for the declaration of war. That's why war just has the one R in it. Not a very well known fact. And backwards it's raw because it's uncooked if there's no war.
The U.S. has no national language. That is true.
Yeah, they do. Canadian.
Whatever.
They have American.
There is not a language for the United States.
They speak American.
A lot of people like to think there
They speak
is.
American. Right there.
That doesn't mean anything. So.
All right, so we're up to 20 past the hour. You've got, 10 minutes till people show up at most?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to shut this one down here. Apologies to those who may have just come in, but Dallas has had a pretty good run, and I'm going to watch a game between they and the Arizona Coyotes when we do this again, next time we play NHL on this channel. I will save this file for that, but thank you guys for coming out on a Thursday afternoon, evening, or Friday morning, depending on where you are in the world. And we will do this again soon.